Chairman.
Thank you. Recognize Representative Stanton for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We're here today because of the unspeakable loss of 346 lives in the tragic crash of Lion Air's Flight 610, Ethiopian Flight 302. Our aviation system is the safest in the world, but these accidents have shaken the public's confidence and trust. We owe it to the people whose lives were lost and their families to get to the bottom of what happened and address any issues within the FAA's certification process to ensure the safety of not only this aircraft, but the system as a whole. The MAX should not be returned to service until the safety of the aircraft is assured by FAA, Boeing, and its operators. Back-to-back crashes demand the reviews of Boeing and FAA's responses that are underway. We need to get to the bottom of why a single point of failure was permitted in the MAX. Commercial aviation, especially in the United States, is so safe in large part because of safety redundancies. Based on preliminary reports, a single point of failure appears to have played a significant role in these tragedies. Now, there have been reports of certain optional safety features of the MAX were sold as extras. Now, my question is for Mr. Elwell. Is it common to have safety features offered as optional and not mandatory?
Mr. Stanton, any safety critical component to the certification of an aircraft is not optional. It's part of the certification of the aircraft.
With those features, which were not on either of the Lion Air or Ethiopian planes, have made a difference in aiding the pilots to more quickly identify the MCAS system was triggering?
In my opinion, no. I think you're referring to the AOA disagree light.
Yeah.
Sir.
Should these be required features?
I actually would like to defer to Mr. Lawrence.
Please.
So AOA disagree indicator was not on the original 737. It was first introduced on the NG model. It is a maintenance alert, so we do not consider it part of our critical items. And I'm not aware of which aircraft other aircraft may or may not have it installed.
As far as you know, what are Boeing's plans to incorporate these features on all Boeing aircraft?
Are they looking to incorporate the AOA indicator on all Boeing aircraft?
Yes.
It is not. My understanding is it is not on other Boeing aircraft. It was just the NG, in the manner that it was displayed.
I understand that the software modifications for the MCAS system are in process. Can you describe the status of the modifications you would expect for the MAX? And then how confident are you that these will reduce another incident involving a runway stabilizer trim event?
So
Please.
I'll let Earl modify or get into more detail on my
Please.
answer, but we are expecting the formal application of the MCAS update, software update, soon. We do know the basic parameters of there's three pieces to that fix that would, in once established and once put on airplanes, would render the scenarios that that were perpetuated in the Lion Air and the Ethiopian accidents. They wouldn't happen the way they happened there. But I'll let Earl elaborate any further on
Lawrence?
that.
Yes, thank you. The software, I would call it the beta version for this audience here, has been submitted to us. And the reason why they submit it to us is so we can stick it in the simulator, so we can test it, so we can also look at their system safety analysis and see whether it will appropriately address it. The key thing the new software does is look at both angle of attack indicators to assure that a single failure will not cause the system to initiate and future changes.
All right, one more question for Mr. Elwell. You're a U.S. Air Force Academy graduate, combat pilot during Operation Desert Storm, commercial pilot for 16 years with a combined 6,000 flight hours. It's a very impressive experience. Do you think the FAA should have mandated training for the MCAS system for pilots knowing what we know now?
Well, sir, thank you for that question. The investigations and the audits and the reviews currently underway are going to make their recommendations. I'm going to answer you the way you asked the question as a pilot, as somebody who has devoted my entire life to flying and safety. At the beginning, when I first heard of this, thought that the MCAS should have been more adequately explained in the ops manual and the flight manual. Absolutely. In our emergency airworthiness directive that we issued on November 8th after Lion Air, we added explanation of MCAS, and we also reminded our own operators and the world via a document we call a CANIC. We reminded pilots that when to engage runaway pitch trim procedures. And we added a note to those instructions. When we complete our overview and we complete our safety analysis, I expect that we will have amplified MCAS description in addition to anything else that we think and we find is needed to make pilots more aware and respond better to an anomaly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to proceed on our side of the aisle